Good day, Father Matt Williams here in my parked car. I hope you are well. Do you trust in God's will? I think that's the question the Lord is asking us today through the scriptures for this Friday of the second week of Advent. Do you trust in God's will? Because in God's will is the blessing. God's blessing. In God's will is peace. In God's will is joy. In God's will is power. In God's will is fruitfulness. Like good things will multiply when we're doing God's will. The blessing of God is in his will. When we rebel against God's will, when we're not faithful to him or his commandments, there's no blessing, there's no peace, there's no joy, there's no fruitfulness. It's not life-giving. Listen to the scriptures. This is from Isaiah 48:17-19, okay? It goes like this. If you would hearken to my commandments, your prosperity would be like the river, and your vindication like the waves of the sea. Your descendants would be like the sand, and those born of your stock like its grains. Now, you got to remember, ancient Israel, the sign that you were blessed by God was that if you had a great lineage, that you had many children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, right? The sign of blessing. So that's why like infertility in ancient Israel was seen as like you were cursed by God. But the opposite, the blessing. So if you had abundant children and a big family, that was like you're blessed by God. So that's why it says like, you know, your descendants would be like the sand, like the sand. Think of how many sands on the shore, right? So the blessings, when you do God's will, when you keep his commandments, there's the blessing. So here's the thing. Do you want to live under the blessing, or do you want to live under the not blessing or the curse? Or do you want God to bless what you're doing in your life? Or do you want to say, okay, God, well, I'm going to do it my way and I hope you'll bless what I'm doing? Because the scriptures are saying that like when you do God's will, when you keep his commandments and you seek to do his will, it's fruitful. It brings peace into your life and into other people's lives. There's power, there's fruitfulness, there's the overflow. It multiplies. Great blessing is in keeping in God's will. So the question is, do you trust God? If you trust him, you will seek his will. If you don't trust him, you're not really going to try to seek his will. So the question is today, do you trust God so as to seek his will? I would invite you to pray today 10 times, maybe even on every hour. Jesus, I trust in you. That's the Divine Mercy message, right? Jesus, I trust in you. Asking Jesus for the grace to trust him so that we can seek to do his will above all else. And then we will know the power of God's blessing, fruitfulness, joy, gift, overflow. God bless you.